absence of the continuation of the Star Wars Expanded Universe, fans have taken the continuation of the Expanded Universe into their own hands. Currently, there are hours upon hours of fan films that have already been created adapting the Expanded Universe faithfully, and here are some incredible Star Wars Expanded Universe adaptations for you to check out. For starters, one of the most popular and complete adaptations of the Expanded Universe would have to be Heir to the Empire from Darth Angelus. Part 1 clocks in at about an hour and 50 minutes, and Part 2 clocks in at about an hour and 40. This adds up to a 3.5 hour adaptation of one of the first and best Expanded Universe novels to date. Heir to the Empire is a great starting point jumping into the post-Return of the Jedi Expanded Universe, and Darth Angelus has done a wonderful and faithful job of adapting this incredible story into a great fan film. Darth Angelus is already hard at work adapting the second novel in the Thrawn trilogy, Dark Force Rising, for which I and many others are highly anticipating. Another great adaptation that is already almost complete is the Darth Plagueis novel from Everest Productions. Currently, there are over 4 hours of adapted source material adapting the first 2/3 of the novel. Using Star Wars movie duels and a few other tools, Everest Productions has created a very faithful and enjoyable adaptation of Darth Plagueis, which is incredibly rewarding for those who have read the novel, and if you haven't read the novel, it's a great way to dive into the Expanded Universe. However, Everest Productions has produced a lot more than just Darth Plagueis content. He's also adapted one of the most climactic sequences of Darth Bane Path of Destruction, in addition to The Tenebrous Way and Darth Maul Endgame. While he's wrapping up Part 3 of Darth Plagueis, he's also begun working on Dark Lord The Rise of Darth Vader, already having finished several sequences. This incredibly prolific creator also adapted the ending of Labyrinth of Evil. The channel's Spiky Tortoise has also been working on an animated Dark Empire adaptation. So far, he's gotten through issues 1 through 3 of the original Dark Empire run. For those interested in the Old Republic, there's also been a lot of great fan films in this era as well. The channel Jake Wallace VFX has a couple of short films taking vignettes of moments from this era and adapting them into excellent animated fan films. The first one being Nihilus: The Fall of Qatar, and more recently, The Star Forge. There's also the short film Malik: An Old Republic Story from Unreal Cinema. Unreal Cinema also released a trailer for KOTOR Episode 1, The Endar Spire, however, has discontinued working on the project. So right now, all there is to view of this adaptation is the Malik short film and the trailer for the first episode. A group of very dedicated fans under the channel Project Revan made a feature-length adaptation of the Revan novel. However, unlike most of these adaptations, which are all going to be animated, this adaptation actually is live action. The production quality for a fan film isn't going to match Hollywood visual effects, however, the sets, production design, costumes, and VFX are all more than adequate to enjoy this adaptation of the story. Additionally, the channel Skyforge, known for their epic short films depicting incredible space battles, did an excellent adaptation of the short story Ambush at Dara 4, which was the first segment of the Empire Strikes Back radio drama. Going a bit into the looser adaptation sphere, there's also the short film Star Wars X-Wing from Noble Engine. This short film takes moments from the X-Wing series centered around the liberation of Coruscant and kind of meshes them all into one short film with an original cast of characters. Not exactly an adaptation of the X-Wing novels, however, if you're a fan of those novels, you will definitely enjoy this short film. And if you haven't read those novels and you see this short film and you enjoy it, the X-Wing novels are a great way for you to start reading the Expanded Universe. One of the older Expanded Universe adaptations comes to us from a channel simply called Fan Film. They adapt the climax of Legacy of the Force Invincible in a pretty well-produced short film, clocking in at about 20 minutes long. For those of you who are a fan of the Clone Wars, the channel Hello There recreated the Battle of the Heroes from Revenge of the Sith in the Clone Wars animation style. However, this fan film includes sequences from unfinished Clone Wars arcs which are still considered part of the Expanded Universe and uses some of the unused choreography in its production. Additionally, in the vein of Clone Wars, there is also Chaos Productions' adaptation of Son of Dathomir, one of the final comic books that was printed as part of the EU. This Clone Wars tie-in was developed from cancelled episodes of the Clone Wars. And finally, there are my own contributions to Expanded Universe fan films. Currently, I have a trailer for Shadows of the Empire, in addition to the opening crawl, a previz for the Battle of the Bounty Hunters, and a previz for Leia's Nightmare, available on YouTube right now. On my Patreon account, I also have a previz for the prologue of the Shadows of the Empire novel, already available there for viewers to watch early. Something else I've created is a slew of opening crawls for Star Wars EU novels and comics. Going through them chronologically, I did Darth Bane Path of Destruction, Darth Bane Rule of Two, the Kenobi novel, Splinter of the Mind's Eye, Shadows of the Empire, The Truce at Bakura, Shadows of the Empire Evolutions, The Courtship of Princess Leia, Jedi Academy Jedi Search, and Star Wars Legacy. I've also contributed a few other expanded universe adaptations, including an audio motion comic of Boba Fett Wreckage, and for those of you who are aware of the Tales from the Boonta Eve classic, fan-driven short story collection in the same vein of the Bantam era Tales novel collections, I contributed a short story called Fallen Prince, The Tale of Xizor. I've also made an audiobook version of this short story, which you can view right here on YouTube. If you enjoyed any of these recommendations and want to see updates in the future whenever new EU adaptations are created, I created this playlist right here with all of them all in one place with a few other things in there, such as the Star Wars The Old Republic trailers and short films. If you want to support the work that Star Wars Fan Animations is doing here and get to see stuff early, become a member on Patreon. You'll get all kinds of benefits such as your name in credits, and you'll get to see things like our Shadows of the Empire prologue and other creations that we've made early. Thank you for watching, and may the Force be with you.